Hi there, and may the 4th be with you. This is Matt with State of Flux, here with another one of my Star Wars May 4th reviews, this time talking about Caravan of Courage, an Ewok adventure. This film is pretty good for a TV movie of the 80s, made for children. I think, well, I watched it this time around, I do think this felt like George Lucas's first draft of what ultimately would become Willow. If you're not aware, he wrote the sort of soft Hobbit knockoff Willow, and a lot of the elements that come into play in Willow seem like they have their start here. This very much feels like draft one of what that would ultimately become. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think this is a really good light children's adventure for the littles. And the Ewoks of it all, they're really cute, they're really fun, they're really funny. I know that's not what everybody wants from Star Wars. There's very little to almost no beheading in this, and I know that upsets a certain sect of fandom. But for what this is, it's pretty solid. It follows a family who is crash landed on the forest moon of Endor, the sanctuary moon, and the parents are kidnapped by a giant, and the young brother and sister, the sister who is horribly sick and dying, get rescued by the Ewoks, who help them and then agree to go on a quest with them to find their parents. Along the way, you are building a small roster of heroic Ewoks, some with magic, like a magic wand, some with like brute strength, and heroism. You have like the dude with the little crown and stuff like that, who aid Mace and Cindel along the way. I really like the name Mace. I wonder where they got that. It's too bad they couldn't use that for any other character ever again. No, I actually really like the name Cindel. It looks really good on paper. Anyway, I liked that aspect of it, the building of the team and how they add more as they come across it, including the little fairy sprite. One of my earliest memories of childhood is watching the Star Wars trilogy, the original trilogy, when I was about 3 years old, as well as the first movie of the Ewoks. I had those 4 movies on repeat, especially Return of the Jedi and what was just then called the Ewok Adventure, an Ewok Adventure that was on VHS. And my favorite scene was the little fairy sprite dancing about, purely made of light, and that just captivated my imagination. But I also think that cemented my fear of spiders, because in the climax of this film you have 3 separate spiders that, hilariously, if you watch on the Disney Plus version of this show, you can see the strings are just there. Like, this was never meant to be in high definition. But I will say there are some really strong matte paintings, and the George Lucas crew didn't skimp out on providing good locales, good visually interesting like matte paintings for the characters to walk across, but like the budge is way low from where it was a Star Wars. And also, ultimately, this just doesn't feel much like Star Wars. Like, sure, every once in a while you get that tap of nostalgia seeing the blaster and hearing the blaster sounds and stuff like that, though it sounds more like the ship fire rather than anything else. But I'm kind of getting off topic. I like the character of Mace quite a bit. He's heroic, poorly acted. That poor gentleman doesn't have a ton of range, or didn't. However, bad acting is kind of a staple of the Star Wars genre. Who knows, maybe today acting, he is a tremendous like 4-star performer. But yeah, I really enjoyed his character. We'll touch on that more in the next movie, I imagine. But I enjoy this film. I think it's a good 3 out of 4 star film, especially if you're watching this with a young kid. I watched it with my 3-year-old daughter, and she was like gasping when you saw the giant and the spiders she really didn't like. I hope I cemented that fear in her as well. But she was like giggling at the little fairy, the light fairy. She was like all about the little Ewoks, like physical comedy, especially all the stuff with Wicket. So yeah, it plays to the audience that it's meant to play for. And I'm really, really glad that it is on Disney Plus, because this is a really strong film. I think the visual language of the film is a bit blah. It's definitely made for TV and very much looks it. The budget is so much lower than any Star Wars film, like ever. But at the same time, there's good qualities all throughout. It has strong writing of a story. It has, and that's what George Lucas was always good at, is telling great stories. And there's good use of matte paintings, some interesting characters, interesting ideas, and interesting concepts. And I think a lot of that kind of got funneled into, you saw him pivoting away from Star Wars and heading more in the direction of Willow, which would be one of his upcoming films. Stay tuned. I might talk about the Battle for Endor, because I have thoughts on that one too. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And may the 4th be with you, everybody. Peace.